Joyce at Delightful Quilting and Sewing, a knolting dealer in Avon, New York. Today I wanted to share something with you. And the title of this is Edge to Edge or Not. So this looks very much like an edge to edge pattern. And you can see here, this is just a small little quilt that's for a customer of mine that lives in an assisted living facility. And she's taken it upon herself to make a baby quilt for every baby that comes along in the family. And so I quilt them up for her. And the family appreciates getting them, and it gives her something to do that she really enjoys doing, which is the sewing. So you can see that the pattern goes from edge to edge here on this little quilt, which is about 40 inches wide. Up here you can see the pattern kind of upside down now on the flannel backing. It's got little stars in it. And so you would think that this is set up like a regular edge-to-edge pattern using Power Pano or one of the pantograph modes in QuiltMagine, or if you're using IntelliQuilter, using the pantograph mode there too. But alas, it is not. This is a full width pattern here, one side to the other. That's one pattern. There are no pattern repeats here. This is the pattern. And this particular pattern right here is called Rolling Stars Edge to Edge. Copyright Christy Dillon, My Creative Stitches. And you can see the pattern here. And it does look like an edge to edge. She calls it an edge to edge. But it really is not, because it does not have repeats in it. This particular one is done a little bit differently, which I really appreciate Christy making it up this way, because it says there's 3 separate patterns when you buy this. There is one that's approximately 98 inches wide, one that's 65, and one that's 32. It's designed that way, and it is a full width pattern. And as such, you cannot use your pantograph mode, regardless of what automation system you're using, to design this pattern. You have to use a different method for this. Now, in QuiltMagine, this becomes a little bit challenging because we don't really have all of the features that maybe everybody would need to do this. Now, if you have gold, you're farther ahead on this than if you don't have gold. One of the things I like about this particular one that Christy has made is because you have two narrower widths here that you can use to put into your space and make it work. And that's what I did here. I actually used the 65-inch width and designed it put the 65 in, but I put it into a space that was the width of my quilt top. So I used my ruler feature, and I measured from one side of the top of the quilt to the other side of the top of the quilt and applied that measurement for the width of my quilt. And after I did that, then I set up one row. This is one row. It's actually two of the pattern, but that's considered one row. And I brought in the 65-inch width and put it into that because I had tried the 32-inch width, but it made these arcs too skinny, and it didn't look as nice as it does with these. So this sort of looks like a Baptist fan with some stars in one of the rows. So I'm going to post some information online about this, but I wanted to let you know about these patterns. When you're buying patterns that say edge to edge, but then it says, like 98 inches or 102 inches, 108 inches, you got to be very careful to know what you're buying because, again, as I said before, you cannot use the pantograph mode for designing this with the edge to edge, because it will bring in one repeat, and you definitely can't use power piano. That does not work, period, to do this. But I do have some techniques for using this, and those of you that happen to have purchased this particular pattern, you may be able to use it, but you may not be able to use it. It depends on the width of your quilt top. One of my interesting challenges with this is that my customer, she said the backing isn't quite wide enough, so I ended up having to trim off about 3/4 of an inch on each side of the quilt just so that I could put it on here. You know, when you live in assisted living, you don't have access to being able to go out and buy stuff that you need maybe to work on a quilt. So I made it work. I trimmed off a little bit on each side. I pinned on some fabric here to extend it out so that I can put a clip on the side of my backing here and stabilize the quilt while I'm quilting it. So sometimes you have to make things work. I don't send anything back to her and say I can't do it. I just make a way and do it for her. So I will share some more information online as a file when I get it written up and let you know that it is there, and some tips for using this type of pattern. But again, this pattern, you can work with it in some automation systems like IQ. I have a few more options available to me as the program stands. With QuiltMagine, if you have gold, then you will have no problem working with these patterns. One of the things I ended up doing on this quilt right here is I used the Eclipse. Even though I sized it to the size of this, her quilts are not exactly perfect here. So I used the Eclipse and to keep the pattern inside, and went right along the edge of the quilt top here because otherwise it would go out and get too close to where I have pins there. So I hope that gives you just a little bit of information. What's your appetite on this? My Creative Stitches has a few others of this type of pattern. Wasatch has several of the pattern like this. I don't believe I know of any that are other than just the wide dimension, 90. I know there's some that are 90 or 92 inches wide, and others that are maybe 102 or 108 inches wide. But you can probably use them if you access all of the features that we have available to us in QuiltMagine, and especially if you have gold. So that's it for now. And like I said, I'll have some more information up for you. Have a great day.